Hello, hello. Today we're going to have live. It's me, Alena Shautsova. We're going to discuss the most interesting immigration news. And of course, we're going to start with the most interesting news regarding plans that Biden administration, not Biden administration, I'm sorry, potentially Trump administration, if Trump comes to power, is going to have for our immigration community, including me, you, and everybody else who's interested in immigration. So I think it's very important to know what the plans are before you make your choices. When you select president, of course, immigration issue now is one of the most pressing issues for people who are going to be participating in this incoming elections. And it's good to know, right, what both parties have in mind. This program that was announced by the Republican Party is in need to be first officially confirmed by them at their national convention, but it seems that it's exactly or very close to what is going to be the official program. So the Newsweek reports on this plan, and today we're going to be discussing it, July 11th, 2024. My name is Alena Shautsova. I'm an immigration attorney from New York. On my social media channels, I hold these live sessions, usually twice a week, where I share with you guys the most interesting immigration news. And of course, I answer you guys' questions. So please let me know where you're watching from. Let me know how you feel today, if you had a good week. We in the office had an amazing week. We were able to win asylum case for our clients from Russia. It was a well-prepared case. It was a case that was not taking so long comparatively in court from the time the client entered the United States until the asylum was granted. A little bit over a year passed, so it was a very speedy case. If you are in asylum process, a lot of people are stuck in it for decades, so our case was very fast. We were very happy about that. We also got a bunch of employment authorizations for our clients in the back. I need to put them in the mail for people, which is a good benefit to have. Some of the clients from the stack are going to receive their first employment authorization for the first time since they entered the United States 20 years ago. So it's a huge deal for them to have that benefit and get their Social Security. Again, very important benefit on your way to become a green card holder and then a citizen. We also had a victory in a national interest waiver case. So I cannot complain. We had a good week. What about you? Let me know. Let me know where you're watching from. Type up your questions. And of course, we're going to start our discussion with regard to this particular announcement, what GOP 2024 platform says about immigration. And I assure you that if you are interested in immigration in the United States, you have a good idea already as to what is that they are proposing. According to this news article, what's happening with this particular proposal is that it's not much different from the previous proposal in 2020, but the language of the proposal became more direct, angrier, I would say, more direct. For example, the proposal calls for mass deportation. I wouldn't say that it's anything new. We all know that Trump promised to have that if he is coming back, and when he comes back to power, he said that that's what he is going to focus on. First of all, the main priority would be to secure the border, according to this proposal. Second, enforcement of the immigration laws. And by that, they mean that they're going to ask ICE to deport people, those who overstayed visas, to fine people. By the way, just so you know that the United States immigration laws have civil fines that can be imposed on people who violate immigration laws. So that's what this proposal is also talking about, that they will be enforcing those civil penalties as well. They may remain in Mexico policy. It's when you're waiting for your asylum and you are in Mexico while you're attending courts in the United States, previously, this policy showed to be extremely restrictive of asylum seekers' rights in terms of preparation and access to justice. So that's, of course, not favored by the immigration bar group of lawyers. Strict vetting. They're stating that those people who do not share American values, those who support communism, those who support some totalitarian regimes, are not going to be allowed to receive immigration benefits in the United States. And they also planning on stopping sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are cities such as New York and Chicago. It means that if you are in one of those cities, and let's say you have some business in a hospital or in a courthouse, let's say that you are charged with a criminal offense of some sort, ICE, federal police, is prohibited from approaching you and arresting you in those facilities where you have your business or schools, for example, right? And generally speaking, local law enforcement is not cooperating with federal law enforcement such as ICE. So that's what sanctuary city means. For that reason, in cities like New York, immigrants who do not have status still may receive work permits, for example, right? So nothing new. Would you say it's something new? No. But generally speaking, I think this is not it. What we're going to see most likely, if I had to guess, we're going to see more emphasis, more pressure on ICE to deport people. Stricter rules, if you will, or policies with regard to prosecutorial discretion, right? That's what's going to come. Why? Because that's what happened the last time around. Prosecutorial discretion can be very important if you have a military member, if you have a spouse who's a US citizen, if you need ISIS or OPLA's declaration to reopen your immigration case, or if you would like to settle on some sort of immigration relief. So nowhere it's being discussed with regard to improving situations for people who are dreamers or undocumented workers. Instead, the proposal actually calls to make sure that American workers are not being disfavored in favor of foreign workers. So if the administration changes, you can, with degree of certainty, predict that things like prosecutorial discretion are going to suffer, right? Things like discretion in terms of USCIS policy. Thank you very much, Fina, for the roses. Things like prosecutorial agreement or disagreement to reopen your case, and so on and so forth. If you have time to file that motion to reopen now, file that I-130 now, prepare for parole in place now, do it as soon as possible, just in case. Because I assure you that some freedoms, some negative is going to come in terms of immigration for sure. Maybe some positive is going to come too. I do not know. We know that not every Republican is super anti-immigrant. Some of them do want to see an immigration reform. So we're going to see what's going to happen. But this is something that you need to be aware of. It's been officially published. It's going to be in works. It's going to be voted for. And it's very important that you know that that's what they are to come in terms of immigration. If you're somebody in the United States who doesn't have status, or if you're somebody whose loved one does not have status. If you guys can, please like and share the show. Thank you very much. My TikTok follow was for the hearts. Please give me more hearts to keep me going. Those who can send stars, please, if you can, just send some love. It also helps. Now, one Democratic representative, Representative Garcia from California, introduced an interesting bill. Now you may know that if you are facing immigration court proceedings, you may bring an attorney with you if you can afford one, but there is no right for a free immigration lawyer. Yet the consequences of negative immigration decision is as harsh, if not harsher sometimes, than consequences for criminal penalties. Imagine you're getting deported. Imagine that you're going to lose connection with the country, the only country that you've ever known. Very often it happens, guys. For people who receive a green card, they never file for citizenship. Then there is one little mistake in their life and they're placed in removal proceedings and they're getting removed from the United States. They couldn't afford a good lawyer. They didn't have representation. It happens more often than you think. So now this particular representative says, why don't we stop that and provide lawyers at the expense of the government budget for immigrants and immigration courts? I can imagine that many Trump supporters are going to be against that, right? Saying, why do we have to pick up that bill as well? But it's actually not such a terrible proposal because first of all, it's going to be American-based lawyers who's going to be paid by from budget and will pay taxes on the earnings. Second, it just improves the trust in justice system and in equality overall, which I think is very important to strengthen the community as a whole. And many people who are getting deported, they're productive members of the society, honestly, guys. I have known so many people who are very much deserving immigrants, who work very hard, pay their taxes, they're EMT workers, construction workers, owners of small, even medium-sized businesses. So, of course, those people who have business, they probably can afford an attorney. But let's say unrepresented minors, right? Children, or somebody who just had a very hard time in their life, they also deserve some help. Currently, to get a free lawyer, you have to be placed on a very long pro bono list. Very long list means that you may not see a free lawyer for years because they're busy, or you have to be lucky to meet somebody who is available from a non-for-profit organization. Sometimes it happens that Catholic charities have enough time to help you, and sometimes in some local legal aid societies, they have a little staff, a group that caters to immigration as well. That's it. There is no centralized program that would allow immigrants to make an application, means-based application, to get some free or at least affordable immigration help. So that's a great proposal as I see it. People in California did elect somebody good, right? Who is worried and about the immigrants and would like to help them. One more piece of news I wanted to share with you is the lawsuit that ACLU filed against immigration jails about the conditions in immigration jails. I do not know what your experience with immigration detention, if anything, was or is, but I'm going to tell you that many of my clients say that those immigration jails are absolutely horrible. There is no access to medical care. There is no access to interpretation services. And generally speaking, sometimes things happen that just complete mocking and discrimination. You can't really characterize them any other way that the immigrants have to go through. So the lawsuit is trying to stop that and at least get some remedies for people who suffered in immigration detentions. I do not know what's going to happen. Is it going to be settling? If the government is going to settle, I'm sure that there will be some sort of a checkup. But please, if you were subjected to terrible conditions in immigration jails, you have to keep an eye on that lawsuit. You may be able to benefit from it. Okay, you may be able to benefit. Just something that you need to know. And now I'm going to be answering your guys' questions. Thank you for your patience. I don't know if some of this news was relevant to you or not, but I appreciate all of your patience and all of your stars and all of you sharing this video, right? All right. Hi, Juan. Hi, Holy Holy. Okay, let's see. My online status for TPS have been 4 months. Estimated time until your case decision is 3 months. Current step case decision estimated time remaining until your current step is complete 2 months. Hi, Bolly. What happens here is that you're trying to monitor your case using that online status system, and you receive this little updates and you believe that they're accurate and that you can rely on them, and you're counting the days until your card or approval is going to come. Don't do that. Those updates are not accurate. That information is not accurate. So the only information you should be relying on would be paper notices, official notices from USCIS, approval, request for more evidence, or anything like that. This 4 months until the decision, 2 months until the decision means nothing, because very often you're counting this 4 months, you're waiting, 1 day is left, you click on your status, you open it up, and it says again, wait for another 2 or 3 months. Unfortunately, that's what it is. Hi, Michael Knight, my friend from New York City. Thank you for helping those achieve the American dream. You are welcome. Absolutely. American dream is still alive. Some people say it's not. I do not believe them. The United States is the best country in the world, no matter what you say. Hi, Silent Clutch. Ms. Alena, someone submits his asylum application without declaration and supporting documents. Might this delay an interview scheduled by USCIS? Most likely, yes. USCIS, if they see that it's a poorly prepared case, will probably put it aside. That's been my experience that I saw. Again, but sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to submit your case as soon as possible, not to miss that 1 year deadline. So then it's understandable why you handle the case this way. That at least you submitted the form, and at the time of the interview, you're going to submit the rest of the documents. Declaration, guys, is extremely important in an asylum case. So you do need to prepare it well. Please, if you do not speak English fluently, write it in your own language and order professional translation. Extremely important. One word, a date mistake, a word mistake may cost you your status. I just encountered a case where USCIS accused a person who's filing for the green card. They're accusing the person of asylum fraud because they made a mistake in the date of the event. They're saying that, well, it's impossible that this event happened on such and such date, but the person said, I still remember it happened. So the person initially made a little mistake. Let's say that the true date was the 11th of March, and in the declaration they put 9th of March. Why? Well, very often you write these declarations years later, right? You're under a lot of stress. You look at the calendar, you make a mistake. The calendar, looks like this, that, you make a mistake, you didn't calculate the timing right. It's not necessarily fraud what happened. It's misrepresentation, unintentional mistake. But USCIS takes every little mistake very seriously. Sometimes they will forgive you if you have other documents to support the true date of the event. Sometimes they will not. And instead of forgiving you, they're going to charge you with fraud. So your Form I-589, your declaration in support of your asylum application are both extremely important. Verify every little comma, every little dot, every date as carefully as you can. All right. Hi, Michael Mendoza. What is the status of Dignity Act of 2024? I don't believe that there is any meaningful update on that, unfortunately. I know that several months ago there were talks about that act, and I think that Republicans may bring it back before the elections just to show that they also are capable of immigration reform, to solicit more votes. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Thank you very much, Alejandre. Hi, Agun. How to transfer to US visa in work authorization permit. Is it possible to receive work authorization if you enter the United States on B1, B2? It's only going to be possible if you will find a way and you will qualify for either change of status to another non-immigrant status or dual intent status, which allows you to get a work permit or work legally, such as O1, for example. Well, H-1B, but that's almost impossible due to the time constraints. Or one, F1. On F1 status, you may work if you are admitted into a program, what's called a Day 1 CPT, or you get a work permit due to extreme hardships and circumstances, humanitarian circumstances, or you can work on F1 up to 20 hours if you work on campus, or if you qualify for something like KB1 and you quickly can file for adjustment of status. That's probably it. All right. If I had to summarize all available ways, that probably will be it. Sometimes some people will qualify as investors for non-immigrant visa H2, and then of course they will be able to work as well. Hi, Kaor. USA citizen file I-130 for husband 14 months. Now, how long does it take? Usually it takes less than that. Not sure what happened. Maybe there was extensive immigration history prior to that. So that needs to be checked. But usually I-130 takes less than 14 months, takes about 11 months. Now I'm going to be answering some questions from my loyal TikTok followers who gave me tons of hearts and roses. Thank you very much for you guys' gifts. Hi, David. Hi, Fam. Hi, Richard. Thank you guys for sharing this live. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How are you? I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Let me see. Hi, Paulo. Trump will send all of you back. Hi, Anthony. Who do you believe Trump will send all of us back? Could you share more of your thoughts on that? I applied for my sibling for my 130 since 2010. They're in Morocco when they come to the United States. Well, we will need to check priority date for your siblings and see when it is current. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in F4 category, priority dates would be current in 2007. But I may be wrong. I'm getting older. My memory is not that sharp. If you want to, we can check it now, but you can also check it on Visibility. Visibility, you know, it's a table that shows us when people in various preference categories, when their turn comes to get those immigrant visas in various preference categories. So check your priority date, which is going to be found in the upper left corner of that I-130 form, that I-130 approval. I assume that it was approved, or it's going to be found to your right in your receipt, if you only have a receipt. But hopefully by now you had an approval. Thank you, Fina, for the rose. Thank you very much, guys. Hi, hi, hi. Somebody writing about my husband. You guys do not know anything about my husband. But sometimes I get this trolls or somebody, I do not know. All right. Hi, boss made improper entry and then came back with advanced parole. Can I get I-94? Is it legal entry? If you were allowed on a parole, you were paroled. You're not going to get I-94 because I-94 is for those who are inspected and admitted, but you're going to have a stamp that you are paroled. Is it legal entry? Yes, it is, especially for adjustment of status purposes. Now, will you be able to use it as proof of legal entry for all the purposes? Yes, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to qualify for adjustment of status based on employment, for example, because there is Rule 245C that's going to be in your way no matter what. But such an entry will be sufficient for other adjustment of status purposes, for example, for adjustment of status purposes based on marriage to a U.S. citizen. All right. Hi, Louis Martinez. I am a U.S. citizen. My wife has been waiting for her Juarez interview for 9 months. How much longer? Is your wife overseas? If she is here and she filed for I-601A waiver. I would suggest that you would not rush that interview, but rather try to go for Biden's administration parole in place. For, by the way, you will be able to file for, according to the news resources, by the end of the summer. If your wife is overseas and she's waiting for the interview, I wouldn't know why she has not received it in 9 months. That sounds a little bit long to me, okay? Not sure why it's taking so long. Are you stating that the case is documentary qualified for 9 months? Then it's a very long time not to get that interview. Why don't you try in that case to contact your local congressman and see if they will be of any help, okay? Hi, Puvda, my fiancé lives in the Philippines. I live here in the United States. Can I get him here? Yes. And you met your fiancé at least once within the past 2 years, you will be able to file for them for a K-1 visa. Whether it's a gay relationship, it doesn't matter anymore for the United States purposes, okay? If you guys belong to LGBT, good for you, and it doesn't matter. United States immigration laws treats equally couples of different genders or the same gender, right? All right. Let me see here. All right. If you guys have more questions, please let me know what questions you have, and I'll be able to help you out. All right. Let's see. Asylum case pending from 2022, waiting interview, what to do? Well, Uncle Mo, 2022 is not such a long time to wait for asylum. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you guys very interesting news. Recently, a person filed a lawsuit against the government stating that they were waiting for asylum interview for a little bit too long. I think they were waiting for 4 years, right? So they cited that law that says that you need to be waiting only 180 days. And guess what happened? Tell me, did they win the lawsuit or they didn't win the lawsuit? They lost the lawsuit. The judge said that even though you're waiting for your asylum interview for longer than 180 days, that asylum office has to consider your claim within under the law. 4 years under the current state of events is not such a long time to wait. And the person wasted their money and time on that lawsuit. So just keep that in mind. From 2020, and we're in 2024, I don't believe there is anything you can do except for filing your request to expedite the case, okay? My lawyer is filing EB2. How long is the process? They still haven't filed my PVD. So if they still haven't filed your prevailing wage determination, Amit, then they didn't start the process yet. The process starts with a PVD, prevailing wage determination. Expect for the entire process, and also it depends on what country you're from. But if you don't have this very long delays, like people from India do, for example, you will be stuck in the process for about 2.5 to 3 years, unless the government is going to speed up. That's how long EB2 PERM case may take. Hi, Ahmad, can I file T visa? Is my owner passed away or sold the store? Can you file a T visa just because the owner passed away or sold the store? No. Why would, that's not a qualification for the T visa or human trafficking visa. To qualify for the visa, you have to show that you were a victim of severe labor violation. Now, if you were a victim, but the owner passed away or sold the store, yes, you can file. That's something that you can still file for. All right. Hi, Tanda. Please update on PIP. For those of you who are waiting for PIP, please start preparing. You want to file your case as soon as the window opens, which the government stated it will be in the end of the summer. You want your case to be considered one of the first ones because of the administration changes. You know they will try to mess with PIP, right? Hi, Cream. Thank you very much. Hi, Farouk. Are there any good news for siege applicants for the upcoming months and after the election about changes? I don't, unfortunately, I do not have any specific news for those who are in the siege queue. Unfortunately, as you know, there was, maybe you know, maybe you don't, there was a court order with regard to siege that basically stated that all siege, special immigrant juveniles, will have to be enduring this absolutely long priority dates. They will have to stay in the queue with people from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras for 4.5 years before they can file for their green cards. So that's what happened. And unless there is a United States Supreme Court decision now, or somehow USCIS is going to change the policy, I don't think we're going to have any meaningful change with regard to the priority date in this area. Hi, MQ. Is it possible to get married to my partner who stayed here in the US under tourist visa, and I'm on the H-1B visa? And also, I would like to know if it will affect my green card soon. Is it possible to get married? Absolutely. Marriage by itself does not have any bearing on your immigration status. Is it possible to transfer your legal status to somebody who overstayed their status and you were just having lawful non-immigrant status? No, it's not possible. So you guys can get married, but your spouse is not going to become legal just because of the marriage, okay? Now, you mentioned the green card process. I assume it's based on employment, right? So again, on employment-based adjustment of status means that both spouses must qualify for it. The ground for your spouse, rather, green card will be yours. That you can convey to them, but they still have to qualify for adjustment of status. They have to be admissible. If they overstayed their visa, 245C is going to prohibit them from adjusting status unless they will be qualifying for 245I. I would suggest that you guys have a consultation with an attorney to go over all the citations to maybe better understand the process. But long story short, unfortunately, I don't think that the spouse will be able to adjust with you. All right, let me see what other questions we have. Hi, FT, can I request expedite? Yes, you can. We answered that. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. All right. I have a question. My case has been in Board of Immigration Appeals for 3 years. Sometimes, guys, it happens that the Board of Immigration Appeals takes a very long time, especially for older cases. Newer cases, I usually get resolved within a year, just so you know. Hi, True Wisdom. I was DQD, 90 days in Mexico, and documentary qualified, and nothing should I move to my home country, Bahamas. I would not be able to advise you on that because what happens here is if you move your case, all right, if you move your case, first of all, Bahamas have to agree to take your case. If you move your case, you will have to re-upload all the documents to be documentary qualified again, just so you know. And you will have to have a medical exam now done in Bahamas. If you are prepared to go through this, go through this, all right? If you're prepared to go through this, Mexico can be not so nice when it comes to medical exam, just so you know. There are terrible reports about how people get stuck in Mexico because of the doctors who are making exams there. Sometimes they plainly force people to stay extra year so that they can observe them to make sure that certain conditions do not apply. So, it's up to you. How would I advise you to do that? What if tomorrow you're going to receive your interview? And if you initiate this process of dragging the case to the new location, that will for sure delay the process. The question will be, will it be still longer to remain in Mexico than moving the case to Bahamas? Me, do not know that. But if you say, I do not want to deal with Mexico, I'd rather travel to Bahamas, write to the consulate of the United States in Bahamas and see if they're going to take you, right? Whatever consulate is going to be, whatever jurisdiction they're going to fall under, and see what's going to happen. That's the best advice I can give you. Maybe there are other considerations that I'm not aware of. Sometimes there are other considerations, like background checks, right? For example, background checks may be a consideration for you, criminal background checks, and so on and so forth. Medical exam may be a consideration for you. Sometimes I encounter very unique cases. So if all factors are equal for both locations, you know that you're going to cause some delay when you move the case, but you still think that it's going to be shorter to cause the delay than waiting for your interview in Mexico. Maybe you just don't want to deal with the consulate in Mexico because it is very strict, guys. They will try to deny you visa based on everything, just so you know. Then go ahead. All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for your time today, for your questions, for joining, for liking and sharing the streams. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. Now, I have on YouTube over 200,000 followers, almost 250,000, and 880,000 on Facebook, and 50-something thousand on TikTok. And we're growing every day. It's all because of you, friends. So thank you very, very much. That's why I do hold these sessions regularly, to help you out and share my thoughts on your immigration issues. So if you can support the channel by subscribing, by sharing and liking the streams, thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon.